Hi everybody, it's Thursday, it's Serger Thursday. Today we're going to work on a serger block. It's super easy to do. You can whip up a quilt super fast with this. It's one of the fastest quilt blocks you could come up with. Instructions for how to do this is actually, if you go to the Baby Lock site, it's called the Dimensional Bow Tie Quilt Block. And it's on the Baby Lock project sites, and it's got the written instructions on how to do it. This is what the quilt block looks like, and this today should be rather quick, and it's really cute. It has like this little dimensional pocket here, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Let's get started. You can make this any size. So what you do is, say if you want a 14-inch finished block, or you want it 14 inches, whatever size, you're going to cut blocks half that plus a half an inch in order to accommodate for seam allowances. So this one, you can make it any size, from little tiny. I used 6-inch blocks. I just cut just 6-inch blocks, and it ended up to be finished. Let me measure it. It is finished. It's 11.5 inches. So probably be 11 inches by the time that you sew the seams on the outside. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to cut 2 6-by-6-inch squares, or whatever dimension, of a background fabric, and 3 of the bow tie fabric. And so they're cut out already. So you're going to take your background fabric, right side up, in other words, wrong side's at the bottom. You're going to take one of your bow tie fabrics, and you're going to fold it right sides together, but you're not going to press it. Don't press it. Okay? And I'm just going to line up the raw edges here. There. And I'm going to use Wonder Clips to hold it together. I don't recommend using pins with a serger. It's too easy to mess up, you know, a $20 blade, which would have to be replaced. So I'm just going to clip that there for a second to hold it. Then you're going to take another piece of your bow tie fabric, and you're going to put it right sides down. In other words, you want the front and the back to be right sides together. And I'm just going to piece that. Just clip it together. All the right edges together. Okay. Okay, now we want to sew a 1/4-inch seam, and so I recommend what you do if you're not, because it's really hard to gauge where to put your fabric to have it be a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to mark it 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to draw a line. Although it really, you know, doesn't exactly have to be a 1/4 of an inch, but whatever seam allowance you use it consistently. I want a nice dark line. Okay? And now we're going to, and then I'm going to match up now we're going to sew, leave it in the same position. I'm going to sew down this right side. Okay, I'm going to sew down this right side. And let's go over here. I'll move one of these clips over here to hold it. And take that out. Now, I'm using, this is not the best foot to be using with this, and you'll see why in a minute. But I did this because it's got nice bright markings here, because where these marks are right in front of the needle. So if I want a 1/4 inch seam, and I've marked 1/4 inch, then I'm going to place that mark right underneath that little divot. And then that tells me where on this machine to set my fabric. The stitch that I'm using is a 3-thread narrow overlock, and I've set my stitch width, because you can have a blade width and change it. I'm going to leave it at M, which is actually 3.5 millimeters, and that's 3.5 millimeters between the needle and the blade. Now notice I'm using this 1/4 inch with the marking and not taking into account the blade, because if I have this blade wider, it's not going to cut anything off. My loops are going to fall off the end, but I should be, if I'm using the machine, not the blade, in order to decide where I want to put my fabric, then I should have a consistent seam. If you brought it in, then you'd have a finished less than a 1/4 of an inch seam. If you're head on, see, if you're head on to the machine, notice how the edge of the fabric is literally right at the edge of this foot, right here. So that's, but you want to check, because every machine is going to be a little bit different. Okay, and now I'm just going to sew the seam. And I'm keeping that in the same spot. Okay. And then you open it up and get rid of this little globby. I'm going to open this up. Okay, and I'm going to actually just finger press towards the dark. So I opened up, this is my one side and the other side, and I'm just going to finger press that. You could press it with an iron, but I'm not going to. Okay, then I'm going to put these sides together, and you can finger press that too if you like. Okay, then I'm going to repeat the process all over again. I'm going to get a background piece, right sides facing you. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to take now this here with the fold. You're going to use your right edge, the fold will be in the middle, and I'm going to just place this, do this one. I should go get those glasses. I'm just going to hold it there for a second. Don't fall. I'm going to see if I can manage it through a class without dropping more stuff on the floor. Okay, and so now my fold is in the middle and the raw edges are along the top and the sides. And then I'm going to take my other piece of tie fabric and put it right sides down, so that now I have, and I'll just clip them all together. And I'm just going to move this clip because I don't need it there. Just so that, see, here's the fold in there, and just align these edges. Okay, and I'm going to take that out. And again, I'm going to sew it in the same exact spot. I didn't make the line this time because I already know where to. Just want to make sure that you're going to catch this fold right here. Okay, now the magic happens. Get rid of these little globbies. Okay, now notice we have, and you could again finger press that if you like, and always press it towards the dark. Got to go towards the darker of the fabrics, just like always. Here we go. Okay, and notice when we open it up, what you should have on either side is a background, a middle, and a bow tie. If you turn it over, it's exactly the same thing. If you have two of the same fabrics on either side, here, if you have both, I pinched myself. If you have both fabrics on either side, you got something wrong. So anyway, so now you're going to open it up in the middle, and you have like this pocket here. I'm going to put, and I have pressed these towards the dark on both sides, so now they should be opposing. Right here. Let me stand up so I can see. Okay, so there it's opposing, and I clip it. Okay, take your raw edges to the end and finger press that. Okay, and then bring the raw edges of the front and the back together. I mean a background and a bow tie, and I'll clip right there. Okay, and I'll do the same thing. I'm not going to do this side. I'm going to leave that for now, other than to take my raw edges together and sort of, you want a good 1/2 inch, and just finger press that so it'll be easier to fix later. Okay. Alrighty, and yes, we can see the machine. I thought I was getting smart this way I could read the comments while I was filming, but yeah, no. Okay, now, I'm not sure where things are because my blade is down. I'm going to turn my hand wheel so that my blade is all the way up. The needle is all the way up, and why I do that is because I don't have to raise the presser foot. I rarely raise the presser foot. This usually all I ever do is raise the toe of it and then place it in, because now I can actually get the edge of that 1/4 inch closer because it's fitting inside this blade. And now because if you start over here, the feed dogs are not connecting with the fabric and it wants to chew and get stuck. So if you raise that needle all the way up and place your fabric right up against the blade, then your feed dog, I don't know if we can see that. No, we can't. Well, I don't think so. You can't really see it. But the feed dogs end like this, right here. The feed dogs end right there. So therefore, my fabric is caught between the feed dogs and the presser foot. I forgot to tell. Did I tell you what settings? I can't remember if I told you the settings for this. I have set this on a 3-thread overlock. Check your manual if you don't have a baby lock. I set my blade width at M, and I set my stitch length as 2.5 standard, not rolled, standard. And my stitch selector is at B, differential feed is at neutral, and my wave overlock selector is at overlock. Okay, so now I'm just going to sew, and I'm going to hold on to that. What I like about Wonder Clips is I can't mess up my blade because it's going to jam and stick right up there. And I'm going to sew just until the middle. Okay. And you'll see why this machine gets stuck. See, this is why this foot is not good for that. See how it got caught in the open toe? I mean, it's not the end of the world. Okay, now that is, I've got reached near the middle, what I can do is you can even raise your presser foot, and now you can take this that you pre-folded before, the middle part, the knot of the bow, place it together right here. You can even use your little tool here to help you pull it if you need to. It's usually not necessary. And I know this seems like it's going slow, but once you do one, they go very fast. You can whip these. You can whip a whole 12 blocks of these, which is enough for a baby quilt together. See there. Helps to put the feed dog down. There we go. I had to push that seam, this seam underneath there, because it was getting caught on this lip. That will not happen on either the regular foot or the clear foot. Okay. And you just sew all the way to the end. Totally done. Okay, watch this. This is awesome. Okay. For some reason it's not letting me. Oh, I guess that is closer. Okay. Let's go over here. It's hard to see this camera. Okay, so now when you open it up, it's finished, and you just want to press it whichever way. I usually press towards the dark, and if it crisscrosses in the back, it's fine. It's caught up in the knot anyway. So then you can press it, and here's what it looks like pressed. See how nice it looks? And here's a neat thing you can do with it. I got some pins. You can even make this fancier or more unique if you take these corners and you fold them in, and I'm just going to pin it because this is going to give you a cathedral window looking look to the block. It isn't cathedral window because you're not stuff, although you could stuff in another piece and have a traditional cathedral window. But I thought this was kind of interesting. Oh, but look how interesting that looks in the middle, and you could just top stitch this down. Somebody had asked me if I could just sew this with a sewing machine. Sure you can. In fact, you can do the whole thing by sewing machine. But I like Serger because it's finished. What else can you use a Serger for in quilting? There's lots of things. Mostly with my fabrics, because I wash all of my fabrics before I sew with them. They come in the house, they go immediately to the washing machine. Usually I just take a 3-thread narrow and I go ahead and I serge it. Just run along the serger before I throw it in the washing machine, and then it works fine. It won't ravel all over the place. That's one thing you can do with them. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Stay cool, stay safe, and I'll see you again. Love you guys. Bye.